Good morning, students. Today we'll be looking at deadlocks, just for something different, and from a request from all of you. I've been handed a new set of cubes. Miss Davies gave me these. Very different, as they have little people on them, stick figures, doing different actions. Slipping over, weightlifter, someone yelling, someone reading, someone laughing, a handshake, bowling ball. So, as requested, I'll go through these in due course and make reference to everyone in my class. So today we're looking at deadlocks. It's weird to think about when you think about a deadlock, think about a relationship. If you're in a relationship, whether it's with family or friends or a partner, most times we come to a compromise or we have a disagreement, we work out a solution. The saddest thing with relationships is they can become where they are deadlocked. And if a deadlock occurs in a marriage or a de facto relationship or boyfriend, girlfriend, life partner, well, that relationship concludes. So we'll have a quick look today. What does a deadlock really mean in regards to legislation? So the House of Reps and Senate, the way they were set up were to have different people or parties in charge of each house. It was only in the 1900s in particular that parties really started to form and dominate political, parliaments, but also federal and state parliament are dominated by the Liberal Nationals and the Labor Party. So we know at the moment the Liberal Nationals hold a majority in the House of Reps and the Labor Party hold a majority in the Senate. So often a bill will go through one house, goes to the next house, and they vote no. So if conflict exists, these are the things that can occur. If we have a disagreement, we can always work out a compromise. And I suppose in relationships, it's about restoring a relationship. Sometimes the government give up on some of the ideas they had and make the changes by which the Senate want, or the Senate make those changes or concede that the government changes are necessary. And again, that was with the JobKeeper, with the COVID-19. Sometimes there's a compromise or a consensus where the ministers allow some changes with minority parties and independents to get their vote. And often it's the Greens about the environment or independents wanting to look after the most vulnerable, and the bill will continue. The romantic notion is most bills go through Parliament unchanged. If anything, most then go through with a disagreement with a small change. A deadlock is really rare, but it's where the left wing and right wing really can't compromise and the bill can't proceed. Firstly, they can abandon the bill and leave it until they have a majority in both houses. To pull the trigger is the harshest thing of all, Section 57, which means to dissolve both houses and call a general election, and for both houses to reform. This happened in 1975 under Section 64 of the Constitution with the Whitlam government. The Constitution was written, and the states in particular were to be protected by the Senate, and over time they've been dominated by two major parties. But to resolve deadlocks, Section 57 was included, and that was to allow the country to continue and to prosper. So Section 57 says the following: the Governor-General is advised by the Prime Minister that they have to dissolve Parliament, and it is when a bill has been rejected twice after a 3-month period. All of these seats or electorates are declared vacant or open, and an election is held. This is the thing I suppose students really have to think about. If it's Labor and Liberal in the House of Reps and the Liberals have the government, like ScoMo at the moment, and an election occurs, and if the opposition win the Labor Party, the bill will just be abandoned. So the Liberal Party would need to wait until they got a majority and that might be at the next election. The government, if they win the House and they win the Senate, that means they have a majority. That's a rubber stamp. A rubber stamp means that they can pass the vote in both houses and the bill would pass. But if Parliament was to reconfigure exactly the same prior to the double dissolution and the election, they call a joint sitting where all 151 members of the House of Reps and the 76 in the Senate come together and they call a vote. Why that's really important is sometimes there's a huge majority in the House of Reps which can sway the vote. There's only ever been one joint sitting, and it was in 1974 with Whitlam when he was dismissed by Malcolm Fraser. Double dissolution is fine for ordinary bills, but in the Constitution it says through convention the Senate should never block supply and they cannot introduce bills of supply, as I've said on other slides. The reserve powers are similar to having a red card in netball, football or soccer. And the Governor-General would only pull out the red card and dismiss the government when the Prime Minister announces they no longer have a majority, they've lost confidence, or they've acted outside the Constitution. That's just a flow chart of what I've discussed today. Now we'll go through the cubes. Crying cube has to be Grace. Counting money, I think, is Tess. Always laughing and smiling has to be Carol. Bringing me in a great present, Angelina. Skipping through class, enjoying themselves, Annalise. A life of crime. Looks like a burglar, Tyler. Weight training and fitness fanatic, Tim. Broken promises, really difficult one for me. Probably Joanna when she comments on my sector. Have a great day.